Hey, so Netwrix, you are looking to scale your channel first go-to-market strategy. So tell us a little bit about that at the sort of high level, and then we'll maybe drill down a little bit into what it actually means.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, look, we are really going with the channel first market strategy. I mean, for us, it's all about getting the right partners into our ecosystem and driving down into those partners. So the main reason for that is obviously we're trying to drive the ecosystem to get us growth. We don't have hundreds and hundreds of salespeople selling our technology. We want to drive that, excuse me, through our partner ecosystem. That allows us to get a broader reach to market. It allows us to go out to our customers with our partners as well. So it's really important to us to drive the partners. That allows us to get global expansion as well. Okay, so we don't have to put 100 salespeople in the US, hundreds in EMEA, hundreds in APAC. We can go out with our partners to over hundreds of countries, scale through those partners, penetrate into those diverse markets that you need to know the nuances of that sometimes our salespeople don't. And obviously drive that down into our customer ecosystem. So it's really important for us. We are bought into channel from the top down. It comes from Grady's level. It comes from Britt's level. Britt Norwood, our CRO, Grady, our CEO, really driving down that we are working with our channel and that commitment to scale through our channel. That allows us to really reach to our customers and also meet the complex needs that our customers have. You know, we have partners that have really good relationships with some of our customers we don't even know yet. So it's really important for us to drive that down and have a partner ecosystem that can take our message to market. It can help us to get to our customers quicker, more effectively, but then also, obviously, we need a partner program that drives profitability and engagement for the partners to be able to have good conversations with their customers. So that's really why we're investing so heavily in a channel-first approach at Netwrix.
Okay, and as part of the plan, you fairly recently, I think, made two key senior channel leadership appointments. So just tell us the who and what their job roles are going to be.
Yeah, so first it was myself. So I came into this role. I joined to run EMEA originally. I've now gone into the global role. So obviously running Americas, EMEA, and APAC, and really trying to drive down some consistency across all those three areas. Before we had kind of a partner program, but it's been very loose. We're now looking to make that a bit more structured, have the same approach as we go through all three areas so that partners know exactly what they get with Netwrix. We really want to be profitable for them, but also want to be consistent in our approach to the market. It's really important to get that consistency across the board. So when a channel partner comes to work with you, they know exactly what they're going to get from Netwrix. They know what you're going to push to the customers. They know how much margin they're going to make. They know that you're a channel first organization. You know, I come from a background of really focused on how do we build out a channel ecosystem that's going to be successful and be profitable for the partners. So whether that's distribution, whether that's partners, you've got to be consistent in your approach to market. So I was the first one. The second one, I brought in Frank DeCicco into our Americas team. So I've worked with Frank before, and really Frank is going to drive down the same playbook we had previously, which is going out, finding the right partners, scaling with those partners, and building out a successful business model with those partners in the Americas. So very key hires in that aspect.
Yeah, and I think you're also looking at developing further partner opportunities when it comes to identity first data security. So how important, I guess, is that opportunity?
It's super important. I mean, everything it goes around data, and data security always starts with identity, right? So if you're looking at the data, you can't protect that without securing the identity that access it. You need to know what is accessing, who is accessing, what privileges they have to be able to access that data. And we have a product, OneSecure, I think we'll touch on it a bit later on, but that connects the identity, the access, and the data to provide complete visibility across the board, complete control over who can access that sensitive information. And that's really important. And the reason it's really important is because of the threat of AI right now. You can't have a conversation without talking about AI. The amount of AI-driven attacks is increasing, and it's not just the attacks is increasing, it's how people are utilizing AI as well. we don't want people going out into ChatGPT or any other AI program and giving them sensitive information, because that's dangerous. You wouldn't want someone going out and giving your customer list to anyone else. Why would you want them to do that with AI? So for us, AI is super, super important. We're using it in good ways as well, and we'll come on to that. But, the infrastructure is getting more demanding, and you need to be able to adapt to those demands with every IT environment you're working in, whether that's hybrid, whether that's cloud, whether that's on-prem. We have the flexibility to be able to use our products to be able to use AI in a better way, and make sure that we are using it in a safe way as well. And obviously our customers also need to do that. So super important for identity first.
Yeah, and I guess as you referenced, it'd be good to understand a bit more about the solution, the Netwrix One Secure platform, the solution itself, and obviously the benefits that it's delivering to your end users. Yeah, please tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. So look, One Secure is what we're really leading with as we go to market. We've had a lot of acquisitions. We've got a lot of products that have come in. It's really about how we put those together and take it to market. So One Secure is the platform we go to market with. That's data, that's identity security. It consolidates critical security controls, privileged access management, identity protection, threat detection, endpoint security, puts it into a single solution, whether that's hybrid, whether that's cloud, whether that's on-prem. We don't really mind, but we go to market with One Secure. And that platform uses the context-aware AI. It detects vulnerabilities. It can prioritize risks. It can look at how we remediate some of those issues if there are issues. And all of that really reduces all the manual effort, but also accelerates the instant response time when there is an issue. So it really has a 360-degree command center that allows you to see everything, provides unified visibility, consistent security controls, and you can see it all from one dashboard in One Secure. So it's really, really important for us. And that's really what we're taking down to our partners as well. So we go into our partner ecosystem and we go in with a very clear vision for identity-first security. And that creates powerful opportunities for customers and partners, because they can take that message to their customers around data that starts with identity. And that's a really strong go-to-market where our partners have a strong identity practice in their infrastructure.
Okay, and you mentioned AI there, and obviously it's almost impossible to have any conversation about IT these days without mentioning it, because it's so sort of all pervasive. But it'd be good to understand, I guess, what it is that you're doing. I think you hinted at it in that last answer, but how Netwrix is using AI when it comes to developing and incorporating it in its own solutions, and then maybe after that you could perhaps the other sort of end of the supply chain, that how you're helping end users, because AI is clearly an opportunity, but as you alluded to, when it comes to using ChatGPT and stuff, there's a lot of potential cybersecurity risks around it. So yeah, just what you're doing internally and how you're helping customers with it.
Yeah, so look, I don't think you can't have a conversation nowadays without talking about AI, right? It's really is the key conversation that everyone wants to have, whether you're in with partners, whether you're in your customers, or whether you're just internally, right? Everyone is talking about AI, how we can utilize it, where we can utilize it, what can we do with it that's safe, secure. And, one thing is for sure, we have to use AI, right? I don't think you can do the jobs now or be as successful as you need to be without using AI, because it can accelerate what you're doing if you use it in the right way. But the key there is you need to use it in the right way, because if you use it in the wrong way, you can be giving away data that is really powerful for your organization, and that's dangerous. So it has to be used in the right way. So we use it internally, that we encourage people to use it. Our CEO, Grady Summers, is a massive AI fan. He's also one of the cleverest people I've ever met. So he encourages us to use it in the right way. We bought, ChatGPT Enterprise, so we can use that for ourselves internally in our own structured approach that doesn't go out to everyone else to see the data. So it's a safe way of doing it. We use it internally to accelerate software development. Grady's pushing the product team to use that. We use it to enhance customer support. And we use it basically to be able to innovate faster and bring products to market quicker. So when we're doing like that, that's a really powerful thing. We also then use it in our solutions. So we use it for security, like One Secure, as I mentioned earlier. That helps our customers to detect any abnormal activity that's going on in their infrastructure. It allows them to understand data quicker. It allows them to be able to make smarter decisions quicker. And, you know, if you're going to make decisions quick, they need to be smart decisions that you're making. So it's really, really important. And our approach to AI is practical and human-centered. You can use it to accelerate things, but it's about making sure you're using it to accelerate your decisions, you're using it to leverage things, but it's not there to replace people. You still need that human element to be able to go out and go, is that right? Is that what it's saying? You know, if you don't have that human element, I think you're putting a bit of risk on it. So you have to make sure that you're using AI in the right way, not in the wrong way. So that's how we use it internally. We encourage it. We try and get people using it. We try and get people to use it to allow them to be smarter, make decisions quicker, and also to be able to do their daily tasks quicker and be able to spend the time on things that are more productive to them. So absolutely, we want people to use it. And then for you know, the concerns I talked about earlier, you know, really it's about how you use it without giving data away, right? And without putting it into dangerous situations. So you need to understand when you put something into an AI tool, that is going out and everyone can see that, right? And that's not what you want. You need to keep your data very secure. You need to keep the permissions for the right people so the right people can see it. You know, I shouldn't be able to go into my system, say, how much is my CEO paid, and be able to get that data back from an AI tool. You need to make sure the permissions are really locked down to prevent any unintended exposure that people may be able to find from any AI tool that you're putting out there. And then just lastly, it's just about making sure it's not into the public domain. If you're putting something into an AI tool and it's going into public domain and you're putting your sales figures for the last 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, you wouldn't want that data getting into your competitors' hands. So it's really important to make sure we use it in the right way, but also use it to be able to be more productive.
Yeah, and sort of continuing with the theme, I think I'm right in saying you fairly recently launched identity and data security innovations specifically to counter the AI-powered threat. So please tell us a little bit more about what it is you've put out there.
Yeah, so that's the One Secure platform, essentially. And that's to organizations to defend against any kind of data identity-based attacks. And, you know, as we talked about, it's really important within AI. So those new capabilities are really around risk remediation, certificate-based attacks, blocking and enhanced recovery access across Okta, Under ID, Active Directory environments, any of those. And it's really about delivering earlier threat detection from any attacks that are coming in to be able to be faster, to be compliant across any of your hybrid deployments. So the visibility we talked about, the protection, that's all super important as the AI adoption grows within any organization. So it's really important that we look at that in a lot of detail with One Secure.
Okay, and maybe just looking further ahead, sort of the roadmap. I mean, we're not too far away from the end of the year and into 2026. Anything on the roadmap you can share in terms of sort of new solutions, whether you're going to be adding more features, anything else? Yeah, just give us a flavor of what you can in terms of your
yeah. I can't go into product detail too much, obviously, and you know, I wish I could. What I say, we are always innovating. You know, when you're using AI within your business, when you've got a CEO who comes from a technical background, we're always innovating on the products. You know, I think we're always going to stick with security, identity, and data, and that visibility, the automation, the resilience across all hybrid environments is super important for us. You know, we see some of the competitors going to just purely cloud-based. We're not intending to follow that. We are going to have a hybrid approach. If people want to go on-prem, great, they go on-prem. If people want to go cloud, they go cloud. So, you know, we're not going to force people to go down a route they don't want to go down. I think it's really important to keep that customer choice. And also for our partners to be able to go into their customers and say, if you want to go on-prem, that's fine. If you want to go cloud, that's also fine. We don't mind what route you go. So that's really important for us. I think AI will continue to be a real focus for us. You know, how we use that in our products, how we use that to drive relentless innovation is for sure going to be a huge focus for us. That's not going to stop. It's not going to slow down. I mentioned it earlier, AI isn't going anywhere. It's going to continue to be in the business. It's going to continue to be in your customers. You need to be using it. You need to be utilizing it. So I think that AI-driven protection is definitely going to be something that we'll continue to focus on next year. The One Secure platform will also be the focus as we move forward, you know, as we continue to put AI into that, as we continue to provide flexible deployment options that customers want. I think that's definitely going to be something that we will continue to focus on as we go into next year. And really for us, it's about how we take that message into partners, how we make sure they know how to take that to their customers, and be able to successfully, you know, put that in front of their customers and push the right products.
Yeah, and maybe that's a good place for final question in terms of the channel program. Obviously, you're sort of announcing this scaling up of the channel first go-to-market strategy. So what is there, again, anything you can share as to what more folks can expect over the coming months in terms of whether it's the channel program specifically or just increasing the company's profile over time?
Yeah, I think increase the profile is always super, super important, right? We need to get the message out to market. We need to get the brand out to market. You know, we've gone through a big rebranding exercise in the last few weeks with the new brand you see on my screen right now. That new brand is really opening up a lot of market noise for us. So, you know, for us, it's really about how we focus down on the right partners. I talked earlier, we've had a lot of acquisitions. We've had a lot of partners come in who used to have a very small part of our portfolio. Now it's about going back to those partners and say, right, how do you pick up the One Secure message and talk about the whole One Secure message rather than just one very small part like PAM that we bought or any other products? So for me, really, it's about how we drive the right focus with our partner program. You know, we don't need thousands and thousands of partners. What we need is key focus within our accounts. You know, we have channel account managers across the board. It's how we utilize them to drive the right behavior within the right partners. So, you know, it's really about doubling down on the right partners, working with them, making sure they know our products, making sure they know our ecosystem, making sure we can really drive down to the end users through them. And I think that's going to be important across the Americas, across EMEA, across APAC. You know, the commitment that we've made in channel growth, that's not slowing down. We're still bringing on local CAMs as well in each region to make sure we've got the scope to be able to go to market with the right partners. You know, the announcement of myself, the announcement of Frank coming into our global, into our Americas team is really important. All of those hires are bringing deep experience with how to scale partner ecosystems, right? So we know we have to scale through our partners. I talked about it earlier with Britt, with Grady. They know the way for us to get to market quicker, the way for us to be able to hit our targets quicker is to get the right partners out there, building frameworks, you know, going out and delivering services for us. We haven't even touched on this, but we don't want to deliver services. We want our partners to be delivering services, right? That's where they make their money. That's where they make their margin. If they're going to invest in the products, they're going to invest in professional services. They want to be able to go out and deliver professional services. That's what we're really trying to scale in the new partner program, making sure that the entire channel know we are committed to a channel first strategy is super, super important. All right. There's a lot of vendors that say we are a channel first organization, actually don't live it day to day. We are truly living it. We're making sure we're investing in things like deal registration, training programs, marketing resources for our partners. You know, we don't have infinite marketing resources, but we're going to make sure we're focused on the right partners that are bought into our message, that can take our message to market, and we'll spend that marketing funds with those partners that are really going out and driving it to the customers. And that's really going to make us an attractive vendor to want to work with. It's going to make that commitment to a channel first strategy. And really, it's about how you live that channel first strategy day in, day out. You've got to be, as I mentioned earlier, consistent in your approach to the market with a channel first strategy. And I think for me, it's about how we increase our brand through our partner ecosystem. You know, there's no point us spending hundreds of thousands going to an event on our own. Our partners are well known, right? So let's join up with those at marketing activities. Let's go to, you know, things like InfoSec, and, you know, we were over in GITEX last week in the Middle East, one of the largest events in the world. We did that with our distributor over there. We're at Black Hat in Saudi later in the year. Again, we're doing that with one of our distributors in the region. Getting our brand out to market with our partners that are known in market is super important for us to be able to scale and grow in the way we want to grow. And that just aligns with all of our ecosystem driven activities we're doing with the channel first strategy. So I think that's really, really important. And then the future developments, I think, you know, for me, it's really about how we globally expand, especially in high growth areas like APAC. It's a new investment for us. We've gone from 3 people to 20 people in the last 6 months in that region. So that's a huge area for us to grow in. Again, it's making sure we have the right partners in those regions to be able to take that message to market for us with that team, and making sure that we have all the right partner enablement to be able to drive profitability and engagement in those areas. Because if you're not a vendor that's profitable to one of your partners, they're going to go and sell something else, right? Because that's where they're going to make money. So we have to have a channel program that drives profitability. It gives them the engagement they need from a partner enablement perspective, and allows them to go out and also make margin with the services bit that we talked about. And I think that the final thing I would say is we're going to have a really strong emphasis on the identity first data security. And that's a real differentiator for our partners to take to their customers. So I think that's a really good way for us to go to market with partners.
Okay, and maybe just finally, it's fairly early days, I guess, but do you have a sort of a plan over a period of time with some, sort of key deliverables, that how you'll measure the success of it? Or is it just, if the turnover and profitability grows, then you've done a good job? Or do you have sort of specific sort of goals along the way? You may not be able to share all of them, obviously, but just is there a plan in place already, or are you working on that at the moment, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, it's an ever going plan, right? We're adapting, we're changing it, we're going forward. But yeah, look, we're not just looking at revenue and growth, we're looking at the investment the partners are putting in, right? So for example, you could have a very good technical partner that doesn't want to sell product, but they can go out and deliver services for you. That can be as valuable as a partner that is opening the door to a customer. So we look at multiple things, but really for me, revenue is always it's the biggest thing we drive a business by, right? If you're not selling anything, you've got issues. So revenue is always going to be important. But I look at things like influence revenue as well. So is there a partner that's opened the door to a customer but then doesn't actually go and sell the technology to them? Because if it is, and that's an open door and influencing revenue, it's really important for us to measure. I look at things like deal registration. Okay, so deal registration, are they bringing opportunities to us, or are we taking them all to them? Channel is all about give and take, right? You can't just take from a channel. If you're just taking, it's not a relationship. You need to give and take. And for me, I try to get to kind of a 50-50 share, where we take 50% of the opportunity to them, they bring 50% to us. Sometimes you're a bit off that. But it's really looking about how we have a reciprocal partnership with a customer, with a partner, and whether that's an SI, whether that's an MSP, whether that's a reseller, whether that's a distributor, there needs to be give and take within those relationships. And I think everyone at this organization now understands that partners can act as a force multiplier. Right? When I joined, I don't think that was the case. I don't think some of our salespeople understood that channel could actually take them into some of their customers. And it's all about making sure internally the salespeople know that partners can open doors into customers that they don't know, right? They have relationships that you don't even know how that works. They might have sold something to them before. That makes everything you're engaging with that customer easier for you as a salesperson. So that force multiplier, once people start to understand it, they go, oh, so I take a deal to them and then I get another deal back. Well, that's great. Now I've got 2 deals, not 1. Exactly. That's how you're going to grow your ecosystem. That's how you're going to grow to get to chairman's club or whatever you want to do, whatever motivates you as a salesperson. That's what we're trying to get to. So we measure in multiple different ways, influence revenue, deal registrations. I look at technical certifications. I look at sales certifications, which, arguably don't add up to revenue. But if you've got someone that's investing in getting skilled up in your products to be able to go and have a good conversation, that's going to turn into revenue as you go down the road, right? It doesn't have to be revenue now. It could be your building relationship that's going to bring you a lot of revenue in 6 months' time. So if you just look at revenue, you're probably not going to see it as success. If you look at things like, what's the partner putting in? Are they putting in technical skills? Are they putting in sales skills? Are they putting in professional services skills? All of those things can link up to a really successful relationship. So it's just about making sure you're measuring all different things. And, Frank and I talk about this a lot, but we focus on 3 R's. It's relationships, it's the relevance, and it's a relentless engagement with the partners. Those 3 R's are really important to how you're going to invest with partners and how you're going to be successful.